When Metgasco first came to the region, the population of Casino and surrounding areas believed this was a great thing, that they were going to produce local gas, build a power plant powered by natural gas. So, people from all over the area were buying shares and they thought this was just absolutely wonderful. Our family purchased shares and now we're only happy we did that so we can actually have a bit of contact with Metgasco to find out what the heck they're doing. Since then, our old farm at Dobie's Bight was surrounded by 5 wells and the neighbours there told us of the problems, and now we have a proposal to put one in at Bentley, and Metgasco says it's an exploratory well, it's one well. My question is, what happens next? They don't want to talk about what happens next because maybe the story's not that good. I kind of consider that this is what is happening next.
My main concern is water. That is the prime issue here, and it's been shown with the information coming out of America that fracking does contaminate the water supply, and this is a high rainfall area. It runs into the river systems that are here, and Rouse Water has already identified that they will need to use this supply of water for future reference. And that is just not on. This is farmland. It's not gasland. You can't contaminate the water supply. We have an obligation to the next generation that this land is handed on in as good a order as we received it, and we don't own it to do exactly as we please. We're caretakers, and we pass this on to the next generation who are waiting right there for us to do just that.
I can't help but get the feeling that people, supporters of the industry, view this valley almost as terra nullis, almost as if there is nothing here to be worried or even concerned about. And that's why I would like to emphasise that it's a prime grass-fed beef industry, and the cattle industry has the good fortune of having one of the few remaining farmer-owned cooperative meatworks locally, and within the circle of suppliers to the Casino meatworks is now developing a specific grass-fed beef clique, seeking to develop the uniqueness of the nature of our beef industry. There is a growing objection to the nature of feedlotting and the use of grains that could go to better uses, and it's making our grass-fed form of cattle raising even more important as time goes on.
We start to put invasive gasfields into this area. You can imagine that where the houses are positioned, the increased density of roads and well pads is very invasive to people trying to actually farm on that land, because we actually haven't got huge quantities of land to start with, and we're running operations that you could say borderline, but it's going to be well and truly impacted upon by the pipelines and also the new road structures that are going to go in to join these up. And also the buildings, so the local amenity is certainly going to be impounded upon by this.
And these wells fail on a regular basis. There's figures of 1 in 20 failing straight up, and the risk of water contamination, and there is a huge risk to water contamination. That's a prime factor. You cannot farm without clean water, and there should be no risk to water, period. And anything that's detrimental to that is just not on at all.
And all our cattle, all their water comes from groundwater. It's all dams, spring-fed dams, and the water that they get, well, we're not guaranteed that it's going to be safe. Does that make our beef safe to send to Europe or America or Japan or Korea? That the beef industry in this area is worth a lot of money, and are we going to put that at risk for a company who is fly in, fly out? You know.
There's stringent controls with our system now of the NLIS scheme, and any meat contamination would be picked up by on the export market, and that's not worth risking. The chemicals involved would show up in the product, and we can't afford that.
For this to become an economically viable gas field, the changes, the amount of infrastructure throughout a substantial area, not just on the top of the hill of one of the larger paddocks in the district. The extent of it, I can't believe that people are not really considering that. I know through our valley here we're such a conservative group of people, particularly we older ones, that we're not very demonstrative about it. But Metgasco are drilling an exploratory well because they think they're going to get lucky there. If they're lucky there, there must be many, many more wells to make it economically viable. And that's the picture we've got to see. I can't believe anybody that has seen those pictures from the Pilliga State Forest where that ugly black sludge from one exploratory well could do so much damage. And in this high rainfall area where the chances of retaining water in settling ponds for any length of time is almost impossible. The suggested test site is on a slope that drains directly to Back Creek, which drains directly to Leicester Creek, which, well, there's Leicester Creek bridges in Lismore, right in the heart of Lismore. And I just find it so hard to believe that people just don't seem to join the dots.
Metgasco have stated themselves that they need 1,000 wells to make it viable, and this valley crisscrossed by even 100 wells would destroy community, would destroy the integrity of the valley. People need to realise that Metgasco are being somewhat deceptive by saying this is only a conventional well. Well, it's a test well. To extract gas from tight sands gas involves fracking, and fracking is the problem. The information coming out of America now of devastation in certain areas and contamination of water tables, and people are unable to sell farms. Their life's work is worthless, and they have a choice of putting up with it or walking away. And people need to read the information. Medical Journal of Australia has put out a damning report. Australian Institute put out damning reports on the coal seam gas industry. If people are at all in doubt, read the information, have an informed opinion.
We see evidence of sort of pasture contamination, not on a serious level of ruining pastures and that sort of thing, but just residues setting on pastures and impinging on our clean green image that is marketable.
This is a valley situation, and every morning in winter months we get a fog that lays through these valleys, and the fracking procedure would put those chemicals into the airs. It's not so much the chemicals that are going down for the fracking purpose, well, that's part and parcel, that the contaminants that are brought up from those layers are extreme chemicals. They will sit in the air, you will be forced to breathe them. The contamination will sit on the grass, it will sit on your water tanks, and you'll be forced to breathe them. And they are serious chemicals. You can refer to Marion Lloyd Smith, who has gone into great detail on the chemicals involved, and it is not nothing. It's not just methane. These are serious chemicals, and the effects that may show in 20 and 30 years' time will be catastrophic.
And when we moved here, we sited our house to take advantage of the beautiful valley of Bentley, and when Metgasco planned to turn this into a gas field, we were horrified because it was going to threaten our family, our livelihood and our home, because this is a beef producing property. And I go to issues and I look at photos of like this and I say, well, are they going to turn our country into this? Is this what we want to live with? And I consider that the number one threat, that this will threaten our life.
When this first started here and we first became aware of what was going on in the area, and I'm ashamed to say it was probably only about 2 years ago that we actually became aware of the threat of gas in this area, I felt totally despairing and alone. But how naive was I when you look around here.
On behalf of all the landholders here, we've got to thank you guys, our new friends, for coming up and helping us defend this area. Thank you, everybody here. Thank you.
And if they come to a valley near you, we'll be there to support you just as you are to support us.
We've got people from Lismore and Kyogle and Brisbane and all over the place supporting us, and when we're at the corner, waving to the cars and trying to get some attention to what's happening. We've got people, from all sorts of walks of life waving and showing the support, others that don't. But it's been quite amazing. We've had messages from people from overseas supporting what we're doing because they've been through this. It's the galvanising of our local community has been quite amazing, and even the people that we have found in the past to support the industry are talking to us.
I've been involved with the Bentley community and the likes of Robert and the Bentley Art Prize, and a good little community. I've really enjoyed being part of this community. But these bunch of people down here at the campsite, a great bunch of people. I've never enjoyed so much as working with such a good bunch of people, and educated, some alternates. But absolute pleasure to work with them.
They seem to me to the finest and most purposeful group of people that I've really, and united group of people I've ever met with. So many of them are people who are actually coming to the site prior to be there during the critical time, and then dashing off to work at 8:30 or 9 o'clock. And we hear tell of other people that have actually planned to take their annual leave to be here, to spend as much time as they could possibly be here. Now, this group here are talking about our long-term affinity with the land and our future here. These people are talking on a much broader view. The environmental consequences of what is planned, and really the end result is not feeding the world or advancing humanity. It is simply making money out of a resource, and essentially ignoring the resource that's here now on top of the ground.